Good morning, everyone. Once again, this is Black Forest coming in with another market analysis video. This morning, we're going to be looking at the Euro USD. But before we get started to break down this Forex pair, we have to state that this video is for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice. But we all know why you guys are here. You guys are here to find good, credible Forex content that can help improve your ability as a trader, and that can help put a little bit of extra money in your pocket, especially in these hard times with prices going up all around us, between gas to milk to everyday goods. Okay, so with that said, let's go ahead and break down this currency pair. Now, as I've stated before in other previous videos, we like to go over the fundamentals of what's going on with which each currency respectively prior to talking about the technical analysis of what's going on the chart. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now the euro. This is going to take a little bit of minute to break down, so bear with me because we got a couple factors that's going on with the euro. Okay, first of all, the entire European Union, every country that makes up the entire European Union, is suffering from inflation collectively. Okay. And on top of that, they're also suffering from increasing gas prices, which is also furthering its inflation as well. And these increasing gas prices came from the artificial shortage on oil that was placed by banning Russian oil around the world by America and all the countries that make up the EU. They sanctioned Russian oil around the world, which caused an artificial decrease in available gas around the world, available oil that's around the world. Okay. And also, we do have a lot of FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt surrounding the entire European continent's economy due to the war being fought in Russia and Ukraine. They're really fighting like cats and dogs. Russia does not look like they're going to relent or let up anytime soon, and Ukrainians does not look like they're backing down from fighting from their sovereignty. So we're in a situation where, unless we start to get information about positive peace talks leading to ceasefires, the major three European currencies, which is the British pound, the euro, and the CHF, will still continue to be weak no matter how good the economic news is that comes out for it. And on top of that, we've been having also poor economic news coming out about the euro. Okay, so those are all the factors that's affecting the euro and it still being one of our weaker currencies. Okay, during the mid part of this trading week. Okay, now the USD also has several factors going on as well, as I stated in previous videos, so please bear with me. We have inflation hanging over the USD. We have poor economic news come out about the USD the latter part of last trading week. And also, we do have some economic news coming out at 10 o'clock today. So, we're going to have to see how that plays out on the charts. Also, what we're going to also have this, and also that the last trading week, we did have the Federal Reserve increase the interest rate from 25 to 50% to combat inflation. And we are waking up to a lot of news this morning here in America that is stating that the Federal Reserve is going to continue to put economic measures and economic policies in place that is going to combat inflation, so we do not go into a recession here in America. Okay. Now, this is the two factors that's going to decide that. If the economic measures and policies in place combat the inflation in America, um, and also coupled with the increase in interest rate, if those things combat the inflation in America very aggressively and very expeditiously, then we will start to see the USD grain strip very, very, very aggressively. Okay. But on the other hand, if economic measures and policies in place, along with the interest rate, does not combat the inflation aggressively or at a fast enough pace, we will start to see uncertainty come into would be surrounded by the U.S. dollar, and the FUD would happen, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt with the U.S. dollar, and it will start to become much weaker than it currently is right now. Okay. So with that being said, let's discuss what's happening on the chart. I know it's a lot of information, but one thing you have to understand about Forex that people on YouTube give a misconception of, that you can just use these um, coloring book kindergarten support and resistance and alligators and having 50,000 indicators on your chart and you'll be able to make billions of dollars. It doesn't work like that. Now, can you trade Forex can you trade Forex and become profitable? Yes, but you have to be willing, just like anything in life, to put in work. If you put in the work, you will become profitable. And it's not a lot of work because me, myself personally, I am not an economist by trade. I learned all this material learning how to trade Forex the correct way, which is understanding the fundamentals and the technical analysis as well. Okay, so that's my little spiel for this morning. So let's get into what's happening on the charts. All right, now as we can see, we've come down very aggressively since the start of the invasion of Ukraine by Russia, and we've only been coming up with not as much momentum as we've been dropping down. And as you can see, we're starting to have price turnover towards the euro. We're starting to look like we're going back into the fundamental direction of it going down. So we may go down as far as here or here before we start to have a pathetic push up, range out, and continue to go down, or there's a possibility we may start to range in this area here before we start to go down as well. Okay. Now, is there a possibility of price turnover? Yes, but that means that we have to have a very drastic shift in the fundamentals, and based on everything I just discussed previously, is it possible? Yes. Is it probable? No, because these things take time to happen. Okay. So more likely we will be seeing that this will be going for the short position with periodic pickup and strength, which will be retracement before we start to go towards the downside. The only reason why we started to pick up any strength here is because, let's go to the day. As you can see, we had not been this low since April of 2022 years ago. So of course, we were going to end up seeing some type of retracement come back in. But just because we've seen some retracement comes back in does not mean this is the fundamental direction that we're going in. Until we start to see a ceasefire in the of some peace talks with the Russian-Ukrainian war. The EU started to do things more effectively from an economic standpoint to combat inflation, and with all the things surrounded about how aggressive American Federal Reserve is going to be to combat its own inflation, we're more so looking at we're going to be going towards the downside, where we may end up ranging out here before we dropping down, or we may drop down to this area here, range out, so a slight pathetic push up before we start continuing to go towards the downside some more, the short side some more. Hope all this information was helpful for you guys. I'm sorry for this video being a little longer than what we usually do, but these things have to get said so you can understand the seriousness of the situation that you're in. If you want to consider trading Forex as a way to make some passive income from yourself or possibly become a day trader. Okay, hope this information was helpful for you guys. Happy trading.